Hello, welcome to another edition of Cryptic. I think we're going to look at the diabolical Sudoku that will be published in the Telegraph tomorrow. So today I'm going to look at a Times crossword. As you see, I've just loaded it up, so let's have a look. Dirty books in second venue for literary festival. Okay. Dirty books sounds like porn or something like that in the middle of the word for second. Floating platform headed back to sailors. Floating platform, that's a raft. If you head something, you can remove the top of it. And then the word that a sailor would use for the back of the boat is the aft. So that's tricky definition to see there, but I think that's right. So dirty books again. Let's try one down. Bag held up in Candide's Act 1 usually. Okay, what I'm thinking here is we might find the answer reversed in the letters of Candide's Act 1 usually, because it's such a strange collection of letters. And the words held up in, given this is a down clue, suggests that we might be able to find what we're looking for, and we can there. If we look carefully, you can see suitcase. Oh, you could see suitcase, not that in that direction. Suitcase reversed. It just took a bit of careful reading. So our dirty books here in second venue for literary. Dirty books. Maybe that's the definition. Maybe it's dirty books. Venue for a literary festival. Cheltenham. Very serious. Man with stylish clothing. Okay. Man with stylish clothing. I'm thinking we can put a man's name in a word that means stylish. Now the most popular short definition for stylish, short synonym, is chic, which fits well with our C here. So something like this looks good. Short man's name that goes in here, something that's very serious in a medical sense. Well, chronic, I think, is the answer. Electronic components cracked on some circuits and died losing current. Oh goodness me. Sort of like semiconductors, I would have thought would be the answer, but I'm not going to in fact it could be an anagram, this, of on some circuits and D losing I, maybe. I think actually that looks right, doesn't it? It's a bizarrely lucky guess, but let's see if it fits, and it does. That looks quite useful. 13 down. Unruly spirit destroyed debt records. Well, debt records, anything you see like that, that's almost certainly going to be IOUs. Such a useful ending. So let's conjecture that's correct. Now look at the start. So spirit, that could be rum, perhaps. It's certainly a spirit. So destroyed, need a four-letter word which means destroyed. Rumbunctious, I think is going to be it, isn't it? Or rum. I don't know how to spell rumbunctious. Let's bear that in mind and see if we can get the checking letters. Once highly strung, which may describe spinal cord. Once highly strung. Sounds like a musical reference. Which may describe spinal cord. Not sure. 10 across. Bury. Well, I can think of a short word that means bury, which is inter. So again, I'm tempted to almost go with that. Rival small person applying for job. Rival small person. No. Cowshed, that's probably buyer. Then we could get Byronic, which would mean romantically moody. Okay, so cowshed shelved. Both unfinished. If something's shelved, it's on ice. So if we remove the last letters of the word byre, B-Y-R-E, which is a cowshed, and this expression for shelved, we can get Byronic, which means romantically moody. Okay, so dirty, what's that going to be? Shabby then? Oh, Hay on the Hay Literary Festival. Yeah, okay, so we've got books here is B. So the plural of, or two lots of abbreviated books is BB. S is second, and the venue for the literary festival, Hay. So that's surrounding our BB, gives shabby, which means dirty. So another, I mean, this crossing with Byronic, very difficult. I mean, albeit that suitcase was slightly easier. Let's have a look at 9 down. Not being satisfied about male campers, maybe, breaking record time. Okay, so again, I'm helped here by the expression breaking record time, because if something's breaking record time, it suggests to me that it's inside a word for record and possibly T for time. And I can think of a short word for a record, which is disc, which would start this now. So not being satisfied, I'm now thinking something like discontentment. And now it's a case of justifying it. There's the T at the end. So I need to justify this on tent men in the middle. Satisfied about. If something's about something, it's on it. It's on the subject of. Male campers are tent men. So quite an amusing bit of wordplay there. Building's top, plant installer. I have no clue. Let's go on. A possible plagiarism involving Spanish article, which is run without obstacles. Spanish article, I'm thinking it's probably L, E-L, the word for the in Spanish. Possible plagiarism. I don't know. Drove in rush, desperate to find water on Manhattan's west side. Well, the west side of Manhattan looks like it's an M, doesn't it? Drove in rush, desperate to find water. I don't know. Impertinence masked at the outset by daughter's source. Okay, well, short word for impertinence, lip. So if we mask that at the outset, we would get just the I and the P. And we mask it with a daughter. Well, daughter can be abbreviated to D, and that would give us a dip, and that's the source, something you dip things in. Power for line of forwards is rewarding. Well, again, this is a similar type of concept. It's a substitution clue. So it's a clue where we need to replace an L, which is an abbreviation for the word line, with a P, which is an abbreviation for power. So we need to think of a word which means forwards. And originally I was thinking of forwards as in rugby forwards, or strikers in football. But here actually it's forwards in the sense of what you might do with a piece of mail. If you forward something, you relay it. And if you switch the L for a P in the word relay, you get the word repay. You would if I could type. There we go. So repays is rewarding. Let's try this one. Why? You once humble, putting forward liberal. That's a bit jaundiced. Well, you once, the way you might have said you in the old days was thy, T-H-Y. So I quite like, I want this to start with T. Let's have a look at 5 down. It's a question of parentage. No. Okay, this doesn't begin with T. I think this is this is a lovely clue actually. The definition here is quite hard to spot. It's just the word it, believe it or not. That is all the definition you need. And it, as well as referring to a particular thing, can refer to sex. So we need an expression here that would refer to sex, and a question, and it could also be read as a question of parentage. So if I was to give you the first word there, can you think of how it might end? Pause the video again if you need to. The answer, how's your father? Oops, what's gone wrong with my typing again? Okay. How's your father? Okay, so this is interview. Yeah, okay, interviewer, something like that. Rival is to vie. Small person. Interviewee, so it's just small. The synonym for the word small is wee in the Scottish sense. Wee bonny lass. So inter, vie, and we, put them together, we get a person applying for a job, an interviewee. Very nice clue. So you once humble, putting forward liberal, that's a bit jaundice. Okay, I've now thought of a synonym that means a bit jaundice, so it's now a case of working out why. You once okay, so thy was my original thought about this, which of course thy means your rather than you. You would be ye. So you once is ye, and then humble is lowly. Put forward the L, the liberal. L can be an abbreviation for liberal. So put forward one of the L's of lowly to the front, and you get yellowy, which of course is the answer. So our possible plagiarism now. Run without obstacles. Possible plagiarism. I should be able to solve that, being silly. Let's have a look at this one again. Buildings top, plant installer. Buildings top. I don't know why I can't solve that. Being daft. Hooter modified to cover front of brass instrument. Okay, so here I haven't solved it yet. Oh yes, I have. It's a slightly odd new musical instrument we're looking for. Hooter modified is a very clear anagram indicator. So we need an anagram of hooter around the front of brass. So that's the B, the first letter of the word brass. Again, pause if you need to. It's not a very common word, this, I will say that. The answer is a theorbo. Let's have a look at this short one. Wish undone in French way. French way is rue. That's the translation of street in French. And if you wish something undone, you rue it, you regret it. Writer needing men in good health. Right, well I think this will be the name of a writer. Men, unfortunately, can be many things. Well, actually, and I have solved this now. I was thinking we would need to put an abbreviation for men, as in soldiers, inside a word that meant good health. Instead, we need an abbreviation for men in soldiers, so ordinary ranks, whatever it is, OR stands for. If you're in good health, you're well, and Orwell is certainly a writer. Slippery slope limiting America's support. Slippery slope. Pieced. Or maybe an anagram of slope even. Yes, okay, because then we could put USA in the middle of an anagram of slope. Again, pause if you need to. We're looking for a word that means support. Espousal. We should be able to have a good go at this now. Drill bit with vertical grip. Something arms. Drill bit. Oh, present arms. That's a drill in sort of army speak, isn't it? So bit with vertical grip. I think this is a cryptic definition. I'm afraid my knowledge of how you present arms in a military sense is not good enough to quite understand what you do when you present your arms, but I think it must involve a vertical grip. So the clue is meant to be read as sort of suggesting, you know, you're doing something with a power tool as a drill, but in fact it's all a reference to the military manner in which you would present your gun. Now let's go to 20 down. Got Edward as a prize as usual. Got Edward as a prize. One. If you won Ted. I really like that in terms of sort of as usual. Something's as usual as it wanted. Not sure. Survive disembarking after everyone else. Okay, if you survive something, you outlast. And if you're outlast, you're disembarking off the boat last. So run. So we've almost worked out there. Rambunctious. Destroyed. So bunctious might have 5 letters. Form of three-way junction without a coupling. Well, a coupling would be a 2. So form of three-way junction without a. Not sure about that one. Let's look at this. In study, well, study could be den, perhaps. I messed up. Division. Disunity. In study, I messed up. No, I don't like that. Well, I'm not saying it's definitely wrong, I just can't see why it's right, so we should move on. Unsmiling principle brings in commercial parking, or commercial parking. A commercial would be an ad, and parking could be P, so this is all looking quite nice now. If I put a 4-letter word for principle around the edge of that, can I get a sensible answer? How about deadpan? Principal could be a dean, so that looks very nice now. So one's highly strung, bridge of, which may describe spinal cord. Fiddle. Oh dear. European court function is set up to protect voter. Well, maybe elector, something like that. That would be a name of a voter, wouldn't it? I can see how we've got European here, E, court, CT, function is set up to protect. A function is a role. Okay, right, that's a tricky wordplay here. So if function is a role, that is set up, i.e. it's reversed, and is protecting, i.e. surrounding ECT here, the central 3 letters. European court. Very, very difficult clue. Right, okay, let's go back to this one. Drove in rush, desperate. I'm wondering if that could be an anagram now. To find water, oh, Hudson River, just an anagram. Hudson River, water. So Manhattan's west side was nothing to do with the letter M. After all, it was somewhat more straightforward. Okay, so one's highly strung. Something of pelvis? Why can't I get this? It's highly strung. Ah, this is bad. Why is this disunity? Oh, it's just an anagram of in study I. Again, a little bit of knowledge there is a dangerous thing, because when I see in study, the way my brain just hones in on that is to put DEN around the outside of something, whereas actually the clue is relatively simple, and if you hadn't solved a cryptic crossword before and you knew roughly how they worked, you'd get that much quicker than I would. Right, so we're destroyed is going to be bust, rumbustious maybe. Bustious, that sounds possible, doesn't it? So that would make this, once highly strung, which may describe spinal cord. Let me think of the word Dundee here, which is definitely not right. It's highly strung. Bundle of nerves, okay, which may describe spinal cord. That could be a bundle of nerves. Okay, fine. So we're left with a few more. We haven't looked at that for a while. Building's top, plant installer. Building's top. Installer, could that be a hitcher? What's this then? Possible plagiarism is theft, I guess. That would be plagiarism involving Spanish article. Which is run without obstacles. This is Thatcher then. Building's top, plant installer, okay. Somebody who installs thatch on a building, I think would be a thatcher. I think that's what this is getting at. So here we've got run without obstacles is the flat. So la is the Spanish article there. It's very unusual actually. Normally you'd see French article for le, la, lay. Here Spanish article. So it's being used just for a change, and that certainly misled me because I was looking to put EL in the middle of this, which was very confusing. So we're left with this little short one. The form of three-way junction without a coupling. The most obvious thing here is still TWO. Form of three-way junction. Form. These are the sorts of things that it's very important not, especially in competition, not to just slap in your first thought, because sometimes a nasty compiler will deliberately trap you with this sort of thing. Form of three-way junction. Coupling. Problem is I can't really think of another. Though would fit, Tau would fit, TAO. Three-way junction. Without a. Okay, so that's good. Correct. You saw that I had to take a bit of a flyer with 2 there. It's just, if the computer lets me, let's go back to the clue and try and understand what was going on there. Okay, where was it? Form of 3-way junction without a coupling. I suppose a T-junction is a form of 3-way junction. Maybe that's just a T there. Okay, yeah, I think that is right. I think this clue is saying a form of 3-way junction is a T-junction. That's the T. An abbreviation for the word without is WO. So that gives us 2. And then we have a coupling as the definition. Now, I'm not a big fan, I have to say, of this A here, because this A is not necessary in the clue, and it's positively misleading because if we read the clue as form of 3-way junction without coupling, yeah, it totally works, it's totally correct. Why is this A here? This A here it's unnecessary, and this can be read now as an instruction without the letter A, which of course is what I was trying to do and has nothing at all to do with how you're meant to read the clue. So I'm not a big fan of superfluous indefinite articles in clues, but it's just something I would put in room 101, and other people find it more acceptable. Now, what else did I want to look at? Let's have a look at the dictionary. So here we go. I managed to find, I thought rambunctious was spelt with an R-U-M beginning. It's rambunctious, which was why I was struggling to work out quite what was going on here. If I now put in rumbustious, which is the answer, we can see there it is, rumbustious, boisterous. And what was the other? I wanted, that was another interesting one, wasn't it? Accustomed, usual, customary, which is, I think, what we were looking for with the 1 TED clue. Got Edward as a prize as usual. So usual there is totally acceptable definition for wanted. Anything else that was interesting that we should double check on? Overall, I thought this was a very nice puzzle actually. There's a lot of couple of quite tricky cryptic definitions. My favourite clue was 5 down with this very amusing, it is a question of parentage. The definition of it, very nice indeed. Was there anything else I wanted to just double check the definition of? I don't think so. I think that was all. So hopefully this was a useful run through. We do try a couple of times every week to do a slow video where we really go into detail on every clue in the cryptic crossword. I think it's not perhaps something you'd want to watch every day, but certainly if you're new to the Times crossword or to any cryptic crossword, something that's useful to go through once in a while. So with that, as I say, I think Mark's going to have a look at the diabolical Sudoku tomorrow, so look out for that if Sudoku's your bag, and we'll see you again then. Thanks for watching.